Hello everyone, this is FTV vladerag here to bring you another match between Lucky as the red Zerg in top left versus Apocalypse as the blue Terran in the bottom right, this time the map on Akilon Waste. And I'd like to take a moment to talk about how I make these videos. Basically what happens is I download a lot of replays and I just go through one day and I'll watch like 40 replays and cast them. So, with that said, it gets a little weird at times because I get mixed up and so I've actually casted this game after I've casted a lot of games from I've casted Goody vs. Monty, I've already casted Tarantias vs. Hasuabs. Yeah, I've already casted those games, yet I casted Lucky vs. Apocalypse 1 and 2 before all those games, and this is number 3 in their series. So it sort of is a question, how do I order this? Should I put this in the order in which I cast them, in the order in which the games go, in whatever order I like, I guess? Normally I sort of try to keep it as the games go, but it's a little difficult just because, honestly, I'm not that on top of my replays. I just sort of get replays when I cast them when I want, and that's just sort of how it works. By the way, that is actually some of the most beautiful it's not the loud micro of a stutter step, it's not the amazing, splitting versus baneling. That micro right there is just the subtle micro that really makes a little, it's just that extra edge, I feel, that gives pro players a better deal. If you missed it, what happened was the SCV was, of course my mouse freezes as I'm trying to explain this, gosh. Either way, the SCV was under attack by the drone, so he raised the supply depot as he was sending a worker out to help defend it, so that the drone would have to, and you see, this is why I need my mouse. Okay, we're gonna do it like this. So now, as I'll keep there we go. So the drone, instead of being able to go this way and go over here and get it, would have to go the long way around to reach it when it went over here. That is the kind of beautiful micro that I just love. Oh my gosh, because it's just the knowledge that the SCV would go over here, and that if you raise this depot, you force the drone to go around, and therefore delay and, reduce the amount of damage it can do. That's just brilliant. It's so easy, but it's brilliant. Yeah, I don't know why I'm sort of I've been watching a lot of Nostalgia Critic lately, so, yeah, I feel like that might be leaking in to this. Yeah, I would also just find it hilarious if that one Reaper killed the hatchery. That would just be the best moment, I think, maybe any pro cast I've ever seen. Or I should say any pro replay. Pro casts, I don't know, Husky and Day 9 and all the others can pretty much make anything sound exciting, unlike me, where I can't make fireworks sound exciting. So, there you go. But yeah, they can make even ZvT seem just fantastic, whereas I have difficulty making ZvT sound interesting, though a lot of my problem with ZvT is that I'm just too overawed with it myself, and it's just difficult to cast something well when you're gushing about it. Most of the reason I'm not going into depth about what's going on here is because you all know what's going on here, and you always know my problem with TVZ in general is that it's Hellions. Big surprise. Yeah, you know my feelings about this, folks. I'm not going to go into them again. If Apocalypse, I keep saying Reaper, which makes me think of Reefer Madness for some reason. That's just a bad movie. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of Nostalgia Critic. So either way, trying to get back into the game. The thing about the thing about Hellions is that if you're able to do a lot of damage, it really can be a game changer. But most often you won't. It does give you a lot more security against Lings, so you have a little bit of map control, which is always nice to have, but I honestly think map control is a little overrated. I feel you only need control of your own base, and the control of sort of the next area you plan to expand, because let's face it, if you can't take the area that you want to expand to, you can't really defend it either. That's sort of silly to think you could do one without doing the other. So I've always thought that map control was just a tad overrated. It's like, if you can put your units here, but at any time they can come out and kill you and take whatever they want anyways, you're not really controlling the map. Map control means that you control the map, that your opponent can't come out and attack you, and that's sort of why I think it's overrated. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy. I'm just a Protoss player who is almost obsessive when it comes to how safe I play. So yeah, again, what do I know? What I do know actually is that I'm starting to really like having the Reapers join the Hellions. I think I've commented it on the last game, but it's just a good idea. I find it just interesting. It might be sort of the solution to the speedlings around that always seems to happen to Hellions when you try and deal with this. By the way, I will also say that he is being completely ineffective at denying this creep spread. Obviously, he's probably going to scan at some point and deny it, but he's just not been able to do it. And with so many queens basically devoted to it, I'm not really surprised. That is a lot of queens. Is he even larva injecting? Not really, by the looks of it. Yeah, not a lot of larva injects going on, but even if he was, he still has a lot of queens. That is just a huge amount. Not that that's a bad idea, considering that, yeah, the Banshee, I don't even need to talk about it. You already know the Banshee's on the way. I don't really understand why Banshees are on the way, because I've always felt that the Banshee was sort of I've always thought that Banshee was a response to, if they responded to Hellions with roaches, I always thought that you were supposed to go Banshee. But then again, I don't play Terrans, so that might just be more my failure than anything else. I will say that this has been quite the commitment to the Hellion tech. I almost feel, yeah, there's the armories. There's the armories coming down. I was about to say, I almost feel like I don't think he plans to keep them as Hellions the whole game. It's going to be a transition into Hellbats, probably. He is, oh, nope, he's able to spot that out, denying that. He canceled that creep tumor there before it was able to lose anything. How did that Banshee even get hurt? I don't know. What I do know is that these lings over here are going to be able to force that to lift off. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a problem. There's a scan going on, killing off the creep tumors. There's so many queens, though. Does it even matter? Can pretty easily bring that back. Yep, there's the lift off to slowing that base down as the Banshees and Hellions, and Widow Mines actually doing a bit of damage to that Hellion there. Try and take control of the place. I will say that the Hellions are also good at denying creep spread. I really shouldn't hate them so much. You really should uncloak his Banshees, though, because, yeah, there you go. Want that energy as high as you possibly can get it, because, oh, why not? Now, I'm saying I a lot. Oh, well. I've always wondered about Hellion Hellbat composition and whether or not they might actually be useful together. Because let's face it, Hellbats sort of are only useful like one or two lines of them, and the third line can't hit. But if you have Hellions behind that, you can sort of hit even more. So they can be even more effective against light units. A bunch of Banshees going to be moving in here. Obviously, yeah, there it is. I mean, that's the thing. How often are pro players actually caught off guard by this? If the Banshees had gotten in there cloaked and there was nothing to detect him, it really would have been game over. But, yeah, that doesn't happen. So, either way, a lot of queens. Banelings now also on the field. Spire coming down, and Thor's on the way. It looks like Mech will be our choice out of Reaper King. I do like that idea. Why do I keep saying Reaper King? His name is Apocalypse. Whatever. I'm just crazy. How's that? People, I am totally insane. Lost my mind some point in the distant past. Enduring Locust, though, a choice I do like a lot. As the Banelings roll in, taking that out before they really are able to do a whole lot to that hatchery. Still, though, those Banshees able to work away, but, I mean, you guys can see the Queen, so it's not really an issue. Those Banshees just being taxed, they have, like, this one here couldn't even cloak. Think about that. Trying to get away, almost no possibility of it going on. And look at all the bases. Oh my gosh, he's staying more than a base ahead of his opponent at this point. And I feel like the Swarm Host idea, the Swarm Host actually going to be really useful here, especially with the amount of Queens he has on the field, to sort of help deny those Banshees along with the Mutalisks. Because how precisely is our Terran player going to respond to this? He doesn't have really a whole lot of mobility. I'm not sure if he needs it, though, since the force he has might just be enough. It will be immediately scouted, though, by that, or did he? I don't even know if he scouted that. That's the thing. He's going to be seeing this soon. That Overseer just perfectly placed to understand what is going on. The only question is whether or not he can actually stop it from happening, which is going to be his main problem. Yeah, the Swarm Hosts, I don't think there are actually enough to stop this push. Actually, you know what, never mind. He's been scared back, so I guess he had enough to do whatever he was doing. Like I was saying before, those Swarm Hosts are going to be very good versus this because, well, first off, Hellbats are nearly melee range units. They've only got a range of 2. So, yeah, they're a little bit longer range than an Ultralisk, but not all that much. Double command center coming down. What the heck? Like, they're just playing so greedy on this map. I don't even know if it's greedy. It's just, oh my gosh. And he is maxed already. This is actually a very terrifying army, but when you're maxed like this, you really do want to push as soon as you can. I guess he's just waiting on those last siege tanks, maybe a couple of upgrades. But, yep, there it is, the Locust. I don't think he actually has enough Swarm Host. Well, yeah, there goes more Locust. Yeah, he is going to be pulling back, as I was saying. Not actually enough Swarm Host to make the difference in that battle. Keeps just sending waves of Locust to help distract them. Now, how Apocalypse engages here is going to be the main issue, I guess. Or not even the main issue, it's going to be the main determining factor of how this game goes. Swarm Hosts are very strong, but not if they get flanked. In this situation where they can bring all their Locusts to bear, they are much stronger than if they were basically not able to. On the other hand, there's just really not enough here to stop them. Or rather, there's too much here for them to really have much success. Either way, we did see a little bit of harassment going on there. I think there actually was a good amount of workers killed. No, I think they survived. I don't know. Either way, trying to focus on this, even if the Locust is not doing as much damage as one would like, they certainly do a lot of damage. Thors are just notoriously hard to beat down. Of course, Locusts, I mean, look at them. They're infinite. You can't stop them. That is what makes Locusts so difficult. You just can't stop these things. I don't really know why those Mutalisks are flying into the Thors, but hey, whatever, to each their own. As we did have a Broodlords coming out for our Zerg player, which I think is going to be the prime determining factor. Ravens on the way as well. I think that, is that, yeah, it is. Planetary Fortress coming down to defend this base here. And that's not something you often see, but I sort of like it. It's very, very defensive play out of our out of our Protoss, or sorry, not even our, what am I talking? God, it is Terran! It's Terran! How come I can't know these things? Oh my gosh. Either way, I am not entirely convinced that our Terran players really going to be able to pull this off. Not really with the Broodlords on the field. On the other hand, the Vikings really going to be making a difference, but how much can he really afford to get is the question. Ravens Also not bad. Oh, there's a lot of Ravens on the field. I like that. Ravens, very, very good units. Wonder if that's going to be made into another planetary fortress. Either way, there is creep at this base. Just perfect timing on the part, but not quite perfect placement. If it had been precisely in the center, that would have been even better. Either way, oh, look at those scans. Able to find everything out as the swarm hosts do leave, sending their locusts in to do the dirty work. Remember that this is all free. Even doing that half damage on the tank, perfectly fine, because it was all free damage. Those queens there caught out in the open, along with a good chunk of his army caught behind there. You really can't engage into that. But on the other hand, locusts on one side of the battle, not really something you want to be in, as this command center is just harried to the end of the world by the Zerg player. On the other hand, these units here are going to be getting access to, I guess it's the 4th base really. So yeah, this game is just going to be intense. There's the burrow. Not all the locusts have been sent though. That's sort of a big mistake on the part of our Zerg player and the Terran. This is Terran. Oh my gosh. Has broken in to the base. There goes the scans. All these scans, by the way, as the Zerg player has done the exact same thing, just running right past the... Oh my gosh, how many command centers are you making? I guess he's got all the money in the world, but what? I don't even know what to talk about with all of this. Broodlords being made. This is the weirdest base race. I mean, it's not even a base race. The static defenses of both players just ruining each other. This is crazy. This is, I don't even know what form of madness this is. It's just, there's so many things going on. I'm not even sure what to say about it. What were all these for? They all had tech labs. Was he going for battle cruisers or something? He was. Oh my gosh. Which would have been awesome if he'd been able to pull that off. I would have been so happy. Oh my gosh. He is forced to retreat though from all the Broodlords finally. And I do honestly believe that Terran got the better end of this deal. Just barely. Just barely. Although, now that push has indeed come to shove, and it's going to be a big slow shove with those Broodlords. A lot of units coming in to help. The Queen's not going to really be able to make it in too much time, but the swarm hosts certainly are going to be a problem. Oh, but the seeker missiles, as they all try to run every which direction, and the Thors just wreaking their havoc. Thors are just ridiculous units in the end, just pushing right under these Broodlords. On the other hand, you do have the locusts engaging as well. Oh, but oh my gosh, just the power of this Terran army is friggin' unbelievable. He's just slaughtered this entire group. There's nothing here. Oh my gosh, what on earth? But Ultralisks, all of them they've already finished. There's Ultralisks on the field, so hey, you know what? I guess it all works out. Just crazy defensive potential. And battle cruisers making their appearance on the field. Gotta love these things, even if they don't actually have ATA laser or any of that. There, he finally has scouted the Ultralisks. Well, that's a little sad, honestly. I wish he hadn't. It would have been... Oh, but these Ultralisks here, in for a world of pain. Oh, if only they'd been on the attack command. But he is able to save one of them, bring them back into the fold. Ultralisk going to be... I don't know how it's going to handle with this army. I will say that if they can get up close to the tanks, it will be a huge difference. There's so many tanks on the field that the friggin', oh my gosh, I've just never seen it where there's so many tanks that they can't even press Locust into them. That is a crazy amount of aggression out of this player, and he's now able to assault the natural here where the Broodlord, sorry, the Greater Spire. I don't know why I tried to say Guardian Spire, because I guess I was thinking of Guardians. He's now basically in the main base. Once again, though, oh my gosh, there's now Ultralisks inside of his base. And they're totally okay, there they go. So, what are we even going to say about this right now? I don't really know what is going to go on with this matchup anymore. I feel like this has got to be the weirdest base race I've ever seen. I feel it definitely favors Terran, if for no other reason than, I don't know, I guess I just think Ultralisks are better in this situation, if that makes any sense at all. Either way, the Corruptor's going to be causing a lot of problems, and also the fact of the Swarmos all of a sudden just worth their weight in gold. On the other hand, there's a lot of Ravens on the field. So really it's going to come down to who's the best at base hunting. And yeah, here's the thing, all these defenses going to be working in the favor of Lucky, able to force back that first push. And is that what yeah, it is. That is a novel way to deal with, I don't know if it's novel, but it's novel to me certainly, way to deal with Locust. Just with those point defense drones really soaking up all that damage. No real way to get past it. On the other hand, it does drain the Ravens of their energy. I guess it's a good use, but again, even with that, you're still exchanging a lot of nothing for... No, you're still exchanging a lot of something for nothing. You really, that's the great thing about Terran, though. Look at that, he just lifts off, and yeah, there you go. Trying desperately to get some last supply. I'm not really sure for what. Maybe to build a worker over here? I don't know. Either way, this is basically going to be determined about, is there even anything that can hit up? As well, there's the Corruptors, so yeah, but the problem is those Vikings are going to be a huge issue here. There are quite a few of them on the field, 7 total. The exact same amount as there are Corruptors. Corruptors for Vikings. Vikings, of course, do the better job. So, yeah, this is going to be a bit of a predicament for Lucky. On the other hand, he still has his spawning pool, and he still has his queen, and he still has a fair amount of resources, not nearly as much as Apocalypse, but hey, whatever, I guess it'll work. I'm just curious to see how this game goes on. This is just a crazy base race. And of course these Swarmos just constantly, oh but darn, losing those Corruptors, exactly what he does not want to do. He does not want to lose anything at any cost if he can help it. Because basically you can't, I mean, he's the only one with any ability to produce units at this point. How does he even, where is the Spire? Oh my, he had a backup Spire over here, somehow not destroyed by Reaper King. He is going to really regret that, I think, in the end, because the ability to make units is probably the best advantage you can have in this situation. I mean, I guess they both have mining bases at this point, which is its own advantage, but I don't know. These Swarm hosts really making up the most of the defense here. Although it will be a shame to lose that Ultralisk. He really doesn't want to if he can help it. Burrow, by the way, would just be brilliant here. Of course there was the scan, so yeah. And he's going to lose another Ultralisk. You don't want to lose these, but I guess there was no choice. As they both sort of settled down. I wouldn't call the game stabilized. Not by a long shot. We've even got isolated pockets of creep spread, point defense drones all over the map. This is just the craziest battlefield that even remains. I'm not really sure who wins this at this point, except for the fact that Zerg is doubling his opponent's supply and is just sort of on a warpath. That's a bit of a problem for him, especially when a bunch of that supply is made up by units that produce an infinite amount of their own units. At this point, I think Terran, I hate to suggest floating the corners, but you gotta do something. He's gotta get his buildings away from here, and fast. Ultralisks at the door, not something you want. On the other hand, is Zerg in any better of a position? Where are his buildings? What does he even have left? Does an unburrowed spine crawler count as a building? If so, by the way, that is so awesome. The Zerg, you can just totally hide these. Either way, it's gonna be, I don't even know what to say about this. But if he spots this building, it's over. This is the last Terran building on the map. This is it, folks. It's also over for our Terran player if he basically engages into this. I can't really see him winning versus these opponents. Either way, he's going to try and land again and rebuild. Or no, I guess he's okay. I was about to say he's almost going to make the huge game-deciding thing of this. No, there it is. There's the Overlords with the scout. He finds the command center now. It's basically all he can do is defend it now that it's been spotted. He's got to defend this one building. Did he see it? He had to have seen that. He had. He did. He has seen it. He knows what's up. Now, who can win this battle? That's the thing. It favors Lucky here because, I mean, he has a base at the very least. He can totally build. That's one of the things that confuses me is that he could totally build a drone and like build a base here. I don't know why he doesn't. I would. I would just be like, drone, base. Drone, base. And I'd start mining, and I'd be like, I can do this because you have nothing. But anyways, this is the most suspenseful game ever. The only one, he doesn't even he's got 20 income. It's like 40 income. He's basically got nothing. Afraid to engage into this. Actually, I don't really blame him at this point. I don't honestly know who would win this at all. I have just no clue. But we do have that's the most beautiful part of this, is that he's still producing. And by the way, why are they mining here instead of here? Like, that's totally a shorter route. Either way, this is the first production we've seen in a while out of either player. This battle is just, this is one of the longest games I've ever seen. And it's all hinging on this command center. This is just like the derp command center too. Just following it around. Oh my, but he cannot lose. Well, I guess he can. It's not really much of too huge of an issue, but he really does not want to lose that base if he can help it. I really should have put the production tab away a long time ago, as it's almost not important in this battle. I can understand though why you would really not want to go up that ramp, because if the Zerg comes, if he divides his forces, this is what Zerg players have been waiting for. The army is vulnerable. I'm not really certain how he's going to survive this. I do know that queen over there, he has Zerglings. This could just be an Alt F2 attack. Here come the Locusts coming in, not able to deal all that much damage, but again, they don't really need to at this point. The Terran is trapped here, never really able to escape again, I don't think. I just want to see them engage. I want to see the final battle, because I mean, look, there's buildings all over the place. He even has drones left, if you can believe that. Look at that. He has drones. He has a expand coming up. What on earth? This game, I don't even know how to talk about it, except to say that, oh my gosh, he's using mules to repair. Brilliant. Oh my gosh. Basically he's able to continue to repair his opponent. He does not want to lose these swarm hosts, but it's going to happen. He's got to almost engage right into this. This is what I've been waiting for this entire time. The swarm hosts doing a massive damage. All of them, the corruptors, going right for it, and It's over. Apocalypse has lost in one of the craziest base races I have ever seen. Oh my gosh, I'm just so excited. And that one tank and that one surviving Raven are just like, oh god, kill me now. Either way, what a game, folks. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. There's Day 9's Dare 9? Whatever. There's the hair blower or whatever hair dryer thing from him. I'm just speechless, except I'm talking, so I don't even know what I am. Either way, a great match from two great players. And I need to drink water.